Thank you, everyone. My name is Tom Sun. I'm the chairperson for the SPGA Associate Mentorship Committee. I'd like to thank everyone and welcome them to our first monthly town hall for associates for 2022. And we have three wonderful guest speakers today. Let me do a quick introduction. First is Paul Sumagaysay. He is been a PGA member since 2020, right, Paul? And he teaches and works at the Admiral Baker Golf Course. He's a good friend of mine. Went to the golf academy together. Navy vet, commander, retired. Great professional in our association. And secondly, we have Aaron Castillo. Aaron works with me at Airwood. He's the director of golf. Been with us for a little over 2 years and he's done some amazing things within a short period of time. Become a PGA member in 2021. And it's great to work with him every day. And lastly, Jeffrey Brothers. Jeffrey is a mentee of mine from our mentorship program. Attained his membership just December of 2021. There he is. And he's from a very different background like I was. He was executive chef for many years. He's born and raised in Canada and currently works for TaylorMade. So we have three great guests, and we have a forum here with our additional audience, Mr. Addis, Mr. Johnson, Tom Parker, Mike Duncan, and Patrick Gorman. Patrick Gorman joined us today. So there will be a quick Q&A session. Just to like to ask the three guests some questions relating to their experience as an associate. All three members attained their membership around less than 2 years, which is unbelievable. And I think they are perfect examples of current leaders to follow for our current associates and how they got it done in 2 years. And I think it'll be a great 1 hour of just getting the lessons learned and takeaways from these three gentlemen, and hopefully it'll help our associates with their portfolio going forward. So without further ado, I'd like to ask the first question to all three of you, starting with Paul. Paul, you were the first graduate of our mentorship program, from mentee to mentor. Can you give us some, background information on yourself, as I mentioned earlier, and what do you do now, and just give everyone a quick background on yourself?
Okay, Paul Sumagaysay. I work over at Admiral Baker. So I'm one of the leading instructors over there. I actually do a lot of teaching. And I also work at the golf shop with the merchandise and basically all the stuff that's associated with working on the golf course. But primarily I do a lot of teaching nowadays. So how I got started in the program, of course, is when Tom and I were at the golf academy. We played golf together, and he's the one that influenced me in playing and trying to see if I can pass the PAT, because Tom was, he hadn't passed the PAT. I was like, dude, why are you playing all this golf? I don't understand. It's like, oh yeah, I want to do the PAT, and he wound up passing, and then I was like, man, that's something I want to do. So and then lo and behold, I passed the PAT, and I got really lucky. And all it took really was one person to influence me to begin the program, and everything basically opened up from there. So that's why I'm part of the PGA, because all it took was really one person to make a difference in my life, to get me started. And with that, everything kind of opened up. You get to meet a lot more people, and then the networking happens. And I always felt that after the military, it was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to work for something Department of Defense related, or something that's totally different? And I took the latter. But oddly enough, I'm still working for the Department of Defense, Admiral Baker, so I'm a government employee with the military. So with a PGA moniker, of course. So you know, I was kind of interested in you know, doing something that I loved, passionate about. I've been following golf basically when Tiger Woods kind of came about, and that's how I got started. Working with, or excuse me, I learned how to play golf with a guy that worked over at Tecolote Canyon. His name is Ken Kaifas. He's a PGA guy back in the early 90s. I was taking classes at USD. And so, you know, reflecting back, you know, all these things that happened early in my career before I even got my commission was basically I learned how to play golf, and then Seal Beach, that's where Tiger was. And then I got to meet him very like in the mid 90s after he won his US amateur. And then basically everything kind of opened up from there. And then fast forward 23 years later, I retired, and this is something I want to do, very passionate about. So I totally love everything about the organization, whether it's the business side of the house, teaching, making a difference in someone's life, or being part of this organization, the PGA. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. You know, this is truly a dream come true for me.
What a great story, Paul. Thank you so much for that. That's inspiring. Aaron, you know, just tell us a little bit about yourself, why you got into the associate program, and so get to know you a little bit better.
Sure. So I'm currently director of golf over here at Arrowwood with Tom Sun, and also Mike and Pat, who are on the call. Basically, I mean, it's a similar story. It's a career that I had that was 10 plus years, and something that I'm not passionate about. And every day off, I would go do what I am passionate about, which is golf, you know, on the days off. So you just get to meet people and choose a different career path. And I was blessed to be able to do that and switch career paths. And now I'm doing something that I love, and just wanted to get certifications and move forward and grow and learn more knowledge about how to run a golf business. And that was the goal, was get into the PGA and learn. And it's funny, Paul, that you bring up the PAT, because all my friends passed PAT first try. Everybody goes out, knocks it out, and not me. I grinded, you know, and finally passed it, and it felt good. And here we are. I mean, it was the program's not easy. I mean, it's a tough program, but if you're dedicated and focused and efficiently work at it, it's achievable, right? I mean, we did it in pretty quick and while working full schedules. So it's a great program. It's exactly what I expected it to be, and I've gained all the experience that I wanted to out of it. And the associate program itself was nothing but networking and being able to have those outlets to help you achieve what you need to within your own golf job. So that's my story coming into the program and where we're at.
Again, another great story. I mean, I work with you every day, and so the effort you put into continuous education is unbelievable. I know you achieved your TP 1, 2, and 3 certifications already, and working in specializations. It's to continue your efforts on education. Jeffrey, can you tell us about your story?
Yep. So similar to, I think the three of you came from a little bit different background. In Canada, where I grew up, there's a couple of options when you finish high school. If you want to move forward and try to come to the States on a golf scholarship, that option, you start to look at that. And I decided to go to school for cooking. So spent 20 plus years as a chef in the hospitality industry. and had at the back of my mind, still, thinking about this, making this transition into the golf industry. And so did some PGA courses up in Canada, and really enjoyed that, and trying to realize what it would take to make a full stop. And my wife and I at the time were looking at getting my visa for here in the States. And my goal was to transition to the golf industry. So at first I went back to school actually and completed an MBA for the first part of the process, trying to build that education, and then figured moving to a golf mecca, really having the PGA classification after your name is, it's really going to, give you some, I guess, credibility within the industry. And also it's opened up a big, really a networking platform as well. So I think Tom mentioned early in the call, he was my mentor, and we still get together and chat about, whatever it might be. It could be anything pertinent to the industry, or it could be just, other discussions we have, but really it's opened up a door for networking, and really achieving, the PGA classification and moving through the program. I think it's really assisted in the role that I have now. So when I, started with TaylorMade and customer service for 7 months, and at the beginning of January, I took a new role in our sport marketing team. So now I look after all our, I'm on the staff support. So I help look after all our green grass staffers across the country.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for your story. It's again, it's kind of there's commonalities among three of you, actually including me. All four of us come from a very different background. We're older than normal associate age, probably, because we've done things in the past that are different. And all of us been part of the mentorship program, and three of you have graduated from it and become mentors yourselves. And you all three of you have participated in the Launchpad series, teaching level 1 to level 1 associates. So, just a lot of commonalities. But I think one thing that really pops out in my mind is that because we come from a different background, because we have so much passion for golf, and wanting to make this a career that lasts for a long time, we really wanted to put PGA next to our name, and we really focused on getting the membership within the shortest period of time, given the challenges of working full time at a golf facility. So basically the purpose of today's call is to find exactly your secret sauce in becoming a member so quickly. So we'll start with you, Paul. What was your secret sauce?
It's not so much the secret sauce, but there's a lot of parallels. Obviously you got to have the determination, the work ethic, and all that. But to me, I think the really most important thing is that you have to stick to your plan, and you have to have a goal in mind. And my goal was always been, 2020 November, to get my membership. And just like everything else, you have to have a quiet place, like a study or something like that, in your home, wherever that is. It doesn't have to be your home, but you have to have a place where you can really concentrate and focus and do your work. I was a morning person, and I have kids. So, I'd wake up early and then have my cup of coffee. Coffee is really important to get me through the day. And once I got that, then I would have, okay, what are the tasks that I need to get done? And then have a schedule, have a plan, whether it's a short-term plan, a midterm plan, short-term plan. For me, that's just maybe a couple of months or whatever. Midterm plan, okay, I need to get this done by, this year or whatever, and then a long-term plan or something like that. So you have to have a schedule. You have to write it down, and it's really once you write it down, you have to have that goal in mind, and you have to set due dates. And if you don't do that, it's hard because you're always like pushing everything off. I was always a procrastinator, growing up in school, even college and all that. But once I as you get older, you learn all these things. But what I tell, especially the young folks, is that that's what you have to do, is to have a plan and make it a priority. And everything else, yes, this is important. Obviously, there's things that come up, but as long as you stick to it, then what's going to happen is little by little, you're eating that, you're climbing, Mount Everest or whatever it is, and little by little, you take these baby steps, and then ultimately you will reach your goal. So that's kind of like, my thought process was have a plan, have a goal, have a schedule, have a nice quiet place to study, and then execute it, with these deadlines. That's always been kind of my recipe for everything.
Did you do it weekly, Paul, or how often did you work in the portfolio?
I did it almost every other day. There's days where I was busy doing other things, but I always kind of, okay, if I didn't get it done, for whatever day, I want to make sure I'm on track to be able to meet these milestones. And typically, maybe every other day, and really, these modules, they're not super impossible. Honestly, it's a lot of, if you're working in the golf industry, a lot of my answers to the portfolios were, hey, my experience at this golf course, I did X, Y, and Z. And I think when you answer that in true form with your experience, whoever's reading it and correcting your work for you is like, hey, this person really knows what they're doing, because they're not only incorporating whatever theory that we from our book, but also incorporating that experience on the golf course or what have you, and then really putting it all together in a form where whoever's reading it's like, hey, this person does know what they're talking about. And then you really hit all those kind of wickets, whether it's the Rubik's and getting all those things. And then really I did very little kind of redo work when I got my feedback with all my portfolios. So that was always kind of like my thing, getting using your experience, and that's super helpful. That's what I tell my other associates.
Thank you, Paul. Aaron, what was your secret sauce? Getting it done so quickly.
So past experience was huge. To know how to do budgets and that kind of stuff was very important, but it was definitely strategic and strategizing how to get it done. I had a deadline of basically me being new to the golf industry. I had to meet like a minimum work experience time frame, and so my goal was to have it done before that date, and so that was always the goal. So my weekly goal was just to make sure that every single week I completed a module. And usually when you get started on a module, you'd get through it and you'd get moved on to something else. And then I would want to get it done before I never really wanted to walk away from it, because then I would have to kind of pick back up where I left off. And while it's fresh in my mind, I would just want to knock it out. But I basically went in order. I started with in level 1, I started with the cart fleet one, because I figured that would be the easiest one to knock out. And I made it through that one. And then we did the seminar. And then with the seminar, I think a huge advantage is to do the business planning and the customer relations fresh out of the seminar. That's when they go through all that, and it's fresh in your mind, and it all makes sense, and it's easy to get through it. And then after that, it was just module by module, just knock them out and keep it going. If you're to take a 2-week, 3-week, 4-week break, it's that much harder, I think, to get back into it. So every week, make sure you're accomplishing something is the way for me.
That's very good branding our feedback there, Aaron. I think staying consistent week to week is critical, and getting taking full advantage of the seminar is also very critical, from my experience as well. Jeffrey, how about you? You the recent member. What was the key for you to getting it done so quickly?
I think similar to what Aaron and Paul mentioned, you got to break it down into manageable goals. There's an expression I like, I guess I'll take a step back. If you're looking at the program as a whole, and when you get to the first level one, you're getting a combination of the business as well as teaching and coaching, and you feel like you're getting fed with a fire hose. And so if you look at all of that as a whole, it can be overwhelming. And so the expression I like to say is how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. So you got to make manageable goals. And similar to Aaron was saying, whether it's a module a week, a module every 2 weeks, when you come, fresh out of the seminar, it can be to your advantage, to really go after the modules, while you're fresh, because when you're out of it for a bit, it's unless you're constantly reviewing all the content, and there's quite a bit of it, it's going to take you a little bit more work to get back in the groove. And I think as well, which is I think the topic of this whole discussion we're having is utilize your resources, because there's so many around you. Make sure that you're building those connections. All the individuals you're going to meet, in your perspective, chapters that have PGA after their name. All of them have gone through the program. Now they might have gone through at different levels and different times, but really utilize those resources to help you get through the content.
Very true, Jeffrey. I think it's so important to utilize your resources. There are resources out there. Obviously, the Launchpad we do for level one, and the mentorship program with all the mentors and mentees. So we do have the resources, and hopefully associates will reach out and connect and use those resources to complete the portfolio. One next question I like to ask guys is, if you had to do it all over again, what do you think you can do better? So for those associates in the call or who will be listening on future by recording, what advice do you have that from your experience will allow them to make their process manageable? You got to do it all over again. Paul?
Hey, Tom, just to be fair, that wasn't one of the questions you gave us. So I'm not
Oh.
prepared to answer it. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, if I could do it all over again, one of the things, the advantage, especially pre-COVID with level one, even though I did the 3.0 program, I established relationships with all the folks, all the students that were there for level one. Unfortunately, not until it's like, hey, I have to take the test for level one, where we started to kind of reconnect and talk about, hey, it's like, hey, I just finished my level one portfolio, where are you at, kind of thing. Perhaps, and I know there's guys who are still kind of struggling through the program. If I had done something and pulled them along and helped them out, that would have been something that I could have done a better job to help those that started with me, and kind of not just selfishly doing it by myself, possibly helping others that were in the same boat as I was, and then also sharing and talking about the information that we're possibly submitting, just to talk about it, just have not just doing it all by yourself, but having a working together, and then having these discussions about, it's like, hey, for cart fleet management or for budget, what did you do? Do that. Maybe one good thing is maybe once a month or something like that. Just have that discussion and have a reoccurring meeting perhaps, and then just do it. If you schedule it, people will come. If not, then okay. But it's actually a good way for each other to motivate and pursue that goal, perhaps. So that's just kind of my thought in all this.
That's well, that's a great point. To your point, there's a associate level 2, Dr. Cy Silverstein. or Silverstein, he reached out to me today because he's on level 2, and he gave me the exact idea. He's like, why don't we have a working group of level 2, and where we could get together on a monthly basis and whatever the time frame is, and help each other and network with each other. And I think it's a great idea. And today I sent an email back to him, and I have a list, a bunch of associates in level 2. So I'm going to put a working group together with just a recent level 2 graduate as the leader, and he'll be able to kind of lead that working group to help them through the level 2 and assist not only one but a bunch of level 2s in getting through the program. So it's a great point, which is kind of what happened today. So it's yeah, completely agree with that. Aaron, if you have to do it all over again, is there one part that was really challenging or difficult that you could do better or save time in getting it done? Any feedback there?
COVID, but other than that, the buddy system I think is huge. I think my first seminar I went with Mike, and that was awesome to be able to be there with somebody and get work done together. But then we kind of switched directions as you get into level 2 and you go a different direction, and then you find yourself doing work that they're not having to do, or they're having to do work that you're not having to do. And I made it to level 3, I think, before we got into the associate program. And so finding out then that there's so much networking and mentors out there that want to help you, and they've been through this, and they want to talk about their experience and their knowledge. And I think going through, for me, level 2, basically without having the networking and being able to talk to people about it, was the area that if I would have known or spent more time looking, I would have found a mentor earlier that would have been able to work with constantly on that. And so getting that networking partner, and or even somebody that's on the same path as you is huge.
Yeah, that's it's always good to have that little competition. I think competition is always good to push us. Jeffrey, anything from you?
Anything that I would do over again? I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, I procrastinated. Probably could have had it done 5 months earlier than what I had it done, but I had a lot of fun in those 5 months. Not doing any of the work. Not encouraging that at all. I would like to wish I maybe stayed in touch a little bit more with my level 1 friends that came through, even though we diversified afterwards. It's just level 1. There was, I think there was 70 plus of us in the in level 1.
Yeah.
So there's a few guys and girls met and connected with, or men and women, and just didn't really keep in touch. Kind of life steps in, and then pandemic stepped in, and that's probably the only thing. Maybe held on a little bit closer to those connections. Now, no regrets, because within the San Diego chapter and some of the other chapters, I've definitely met some amazing people that have built strong relationships with, and forging new ones. So that's been real rewarding as well.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, it's been fun spending time with you and helping you through the whole process. I think one of the things that I try to always communicate to employees at Arrowwood and all the new associates or the young professionals is, especially with the portfolio, from my perspective, my experience, is that there's an acronym that I like to think about all the time, which is PEE. P. I know it sounds kind of funny, but it stands for plan, execute, and evaluate. So if you do the P every day, plan, execute, evaluate, and you do that for your portfolio on a daily basis or a weekly basis for that matter, then that's going to really help you to stay focused. Because if you just constantly, as a habit on a weekly basis, work on your portfolio, and as all of you have mentioned, getting that module done, not stopping in the middle, but getting it done completely, I think it's critical to continue the progress. So, I encourage you guys to use the P every day. And for those associates in the call, and hopefully that will help you to make some more progress in the portfolio. I think we've talked about the portfolio and the lessons learned and takeaways from it. Now that you've gone through the portfolio as a member, Paul, starting with you, what's the biggest benefit? Or there's lots of benefits, but I know we talked about that already, but what is that one benefit that you feel as a member now that's like makes it so rewarding for you to be gone through that process?
I mean, just the fact of having the comma PGA after my last name helps with regards to everything that I do. It really is very satisfying, especially when you're teaching or anything else. To me, when you teach someone how to play golf and hit their golf ball or swing the club the right way for the first time, and that just kind of fills me with joy, seeing their eyes kind of like light up. It's like, oh my God, I just hit it and I didn't even do anything. Just the pure game as it is, it's just like all those things, whether it's you enjoy the camaraderie, the outdoor, the competition, the organization, PGA. I mean, just being part of that organization is self-rewarding. And for me, it's kind of like, and I'm kind of a weird anomaly, when I came, I work at the golf course, I come home, I'm listening to a PGA tour, and then when I come into the house, I'm watching the Golf Channel. I'm just I'm just a golf maniac. And all the people that in my address book are, I think 90% are either my students in the golf industry or what have you. But that just kind of puts everything kind of together for me that this was very rewarding. One of the things I do is, I work with a lot of active duty military, so we provide free clinics at Admiral Baker. And also we're going to be working a lot with Wounded Warrior, the Freedom Station. So we got some stuff set up here next month and the following. And just the fact of being exposed to whether it's, upcoming golfers, working with college golfers and, obviously with Bianca, LPGA, and also even, NFL, Charger, you're exposed to all these kind of celebrities, and being able to work with them is kind of a really like a neat, rewarding experience. And you'll be able to connect not just with other PGA, of course, and be able to have access to play all these nice golf courses, but meeting and experiencing all these different people's walk of life, etc. So to me, that's very, very rewarding.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of benefits, and that's probably what you talked about is definitely one of them. Aaron, what's the biggest through the grind that you went through? What's the biggest reward that you feel about being a PGA member?
Three that stand out to me are knowing that I have a knowledge of the game as a whole, the game itself, the ability to teach, the ability to grow and drive my business in a correct, proven way, and being accredited to do so is huge. Number two would be the networking that we have, and being able to get the assistance through many different outlets, that the people that we've met that are just willing to give you any detail you need or any assistance that you need is huge. And then being part of a family. I mean, that's our culture here at Arrowwood is family atmosphere, and we work as a big team, and that's what the PGA is. I know that no matter what happens with my career, the PGA will have people that will help and always get you back on track, and that's well worth it.
Well said, Aaron. Thanks for that. Jeffrey, anything that stands out for you now you remember?
Yeah, I would say definitely, similar to Aaron and Paul, being part of the family, being part of the club, having a network of great people to hang out with, to golf with, to chat with, to reach out to, to bounce ideas off. Also, to have it's an honor to carry the PGA after your name. You know what I mean? To be in a role where, I think when you have those three letters after your name, it speaks to the volume that you put in your time, you put in the effort, you put in, what it took. You came through the school of hard knocks, to earn that right, whether you want to put it on your golf bag or your business card. And I think it just shows your passion for the industry and your values as a person as well.
Well said there, Jeffrey. I, personally speaking, as I get older, I get, a little emotional, but, things I accomplished in my life. But one of the proudest things is becoming a PGA member. I still remember vividly taking the level 3 test in San Diego and passing it. I don't even know the percentage, but I passed it. I think it was barely passing it, but and I came out of the testing room. I started getting really emotional, and because I was so proud to now I can put PGA next to my name, and it's been 2.5 years. It's been a wonderful journey, and as you guys all mentioned, I think the biggest benefit for me is the people. I think life is all about relationships, and I think PGA allows us to forge bonds, amazing relationship with amazing people, and I think that's what my takeaway is to answer my own question. So, anyways, last question before we open up for Q&A is simply, what advice do you have for associates who are going through this grind? It's costly, it's timely. The work is busy as ever. There's no slowing down. Family, personal issue, a lot of things going on. What is one piece of advice that you have for current associates who may use this advice and hopefully be inspired or motivated to get through this challenge? Paul?
Hey, Tom, again, not one of the questions we were given. I love the curveballs, bro. So it's no different if you're gonna play a golf tournament. Have fun, enjoy the journey. Whatever happens. And if you do well, great. If not, then there's always other, you just kind of keep on doing the grind. And what happens is, don't be discouraged. I remember when I first, I forget what it was. I think I didn't pass a test, and you get those butterflies in your stomach when you're taking the exam, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, you're taking it, you're in this room, and then it's like, are you sure you want to submit it? Click yes. And then of course you don't know what your score is, and then it's like, and then you find out afterwards, like, oh my gosh, you did well. And then you move on. If you don't do well, you just have to have a plan. But things happen for a reason, and ultimately, if you have the drive and determination, it'll work out for you. This isn't rocket science. This isn't all the information is out there. You can talk to your local your PGA pro, whoever it is there, or if not, then you can talk to someone else. The answers are all there, and they're not. Especially when you're putting together the modules, some of this stuff, you hesitate first. You're like, it's got to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be. You just have to have enough information and go through the rubric. So my advice is just keep doing the grind. And I've always been a believer of, and I don't know, I don't remember the quote on this one, Tom Son. It has to do with an army general saying something about a messy plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. I forget the whole kind of thing, but
Yeah.
go ahead and don't be shy and go ahead and submit it. And if it doesn't work out, then what's the worst thing that can happen is that you're gonna have to resubmit, a portfolio. That's my biggest advice.
Thank you, Paul. Aaron?
I think that's right. I mean, just do it. Just get through it. Just do the work. And we talked about that earlier, that everybody going through this is a full-time employee. They're working hard. It's not cheap. It costs money. But work hard, because it's money that you spent. And if you do fail the test, it's okay, but guess you're gonna have to pay again. If you don't pass the PAT, you're gonna have to pay again. So work hard and take it seriously, and have a plan to get it done, so you don't sit on it and spend more money. But one more thing that I see a lot of associates doing right now is they'll work on modules, but they won't submit them afterwards. And that was big for me, that I would finish that one entirely and then submit it. So that one was completely gone. And then it was totally out of my head. Okay, now I'm on to the next one. And if you're an associate and you're working on them, finish them one at a time and get them done, so it's done, and submit it. You can always reopen it, you can always resubmit it, but submit it, and then you're finishing something, and that finishing makes you move forward. But if you don't feel like you're finishing it, you're not going to move forward. Submit them and work hard. You got to work hard.
Okay, Aaron. Lastly, Jeffrey?
I don't think I'm going to say anything different than the other two gents here, maybe just in a different way, but yeah, go in, have a plan, have a goal, celebrate the small wins, whatever that is for you. Break it down into manageable pieces. And when you get into, one of the assignments, commit the time. Don't have distractions around you. Go in with the goal, like today, I'm going to get through pages 1 through 5 of this, or I'm going to make sure I clear this. And try not to have, I call them open folders. Try not to have too many open folders or open files sitting there, because then you're going to be sitting with all this information just floating. So as soon as you open a file, close the file, get it out. Make the plan, chase a plan, and if you submit one of your assignments in the portfolio, and whatever it is, treat yourself. Whether that's, I don't know, you go for dinner, go for beer, go down on a date, go to the gym, celebrate the small wins. And then when you build up all those small wins, eventually you get the big wins and celebrate that one even more. So make sure, and I think along the way as well, and this is some advice that was given to me, by my profs when I went back, did my master's. Don't cut all the things that make you happy. Don't cut them out of your life to do this, because then you're not going to be happy. So make sure there's time for family. There's, if that's important, there's time for golf. There's time for recreation. There's time for yourself. And then there's time for PGA. Don't cut all the things that you enjoy now out just to try to get this done and be a martyr. Plan your time accordingly, budget your time, and, put your head down and go.
Well said, Jeffrey. So celebrating the successes, I think, is so crucial in balancing your life as you see fit. And I really think that hopefully for those associates on the call or listening on future on the recording, I just want to say that it's, you could hear from the three, from Paul and Aaron and Jeffrey, it's so worth it. And it's the benefits, so rewarding, and we definitely encourage you to listen and to what they have said, and hopefully take heed and and become a member soon. And we're here for you if you need anything. So please reach out to me or to any of the people on this call. So without further ado, I know there's 3 people here on the call. If there are any questions, floor is open. Anyone? Mike and Patrick, you guys are level 2, level 1, respectively. Any questions for the 3 gentlemen?
I'd say I love the idea of having kind of like a due date for modules on your portfolio, but do you guys have any words of wisdom for preparing for the level 1 or level 2 test at the end of the portfolio?
Here, I'll hop in. It's Patrick, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Patrick, when you print out all your materials that are provided to you, here's what I did. I first went through the study guide, which had all the questions, and then I went back and I went through the material. And as I went through the material, when I also had the study guide open at the same time. And as soon as I found the exact wording or answers, I wrote it in the study guide and made a note what page I found it, and also highlighted it. And so that way, when I went to, after doing that, when you go to do, get ready for your exam, you just need that study guide. Long as you find the wording, that what's nice about the tests, they're all fair. It's not like they're trying to throw you a curveball. Personally, I found the most difficult test was the introductory, like getting into the PGA. There's a lot about the Constitution and the background of what certain positions do. Now, when you get into the levels themselves, when you have those study guides, just make sure to fill them out, and you're going to find very similar wording on the exam. So know that study guide inside out. And those practice questions is going to be an amazing resource to getting through those tests.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah. Well said, Jeffrey. Patrick, as you know, we have a lot of people who stick in level 1, level 2, level 3 tests. So when you come to that point, we're here to help you and make sure you get through that first time. Tom, you have anything to say? Tom Parker? No.
Yep. Hey, how are you guys? Aaron, Jeffrey, Paul, thank you so much for all of your, contributions to the session. And Paul, I have to do the rules, session, the next one, and no way I can do the better than you, my man. Sorry about that.
You'll be fine, I'm sure. Come on.
But hey, I just want to, I have a vested interest in the Launchpad program. So for you guys, all 3 of you have been instructors, and you've all led stuff, us through these things. Again, for other instructors that may be on the call, I don't know, but what would you tell them? Was the experience enriching? Was it not? Was it, what do you guys think?
Tom, I definitely, I was thrilled to do the Launchpad. I think that, one, it got me back into the level 1 work again, just to kind of recap what I was going to cover and everything, and make sure that I had everything in line that needed to be covered for the associates, which was great. But it was very fulfilling to do a portion of the book work and assist anybody who wanted to chime in and try and get assistance. I think that's what it's all about.
All right. Anyone else? Mike Duncan or Jeff and Randy? Any questions or comments?
I'm actually gonna step in here, Paul. I have to do your rules I cannot do that, better than you, but buddy, you got to tell me what's going on here.
Well, okay, for the rules, to me anyways, in all these launch pads, use your personal experience and have fun with it, and use the technologies out there that may be useful. And in my case, which was when Tom asked me, I was like, oh, Patrick Reed case, that's kind of interesting. What happened last year? He won and there's a million scenarios. I think people just want a discussion, in all how that kind of, and then really the big thing is make it interesting, tell your story, and then provide the tools that are available to be able to figure out what the right answer is. In our case, obviously, we have the books and whatnot, but I was able to kind of incorporate what's available now. USGA has a website just for rules, so you can just type in keywords, those kinds of things. Hit me up, and then I think I can give you a copy of my brief, but just have fun with it and be as creative as you want to be. It's yours.
Oh, you're the best, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom and Paul. Anyone else have any questions or comments before we conclude the call?
Tom, this is Randy Shannon. I just wanted to say that after hearing these three gentlemen, Aaron, Jeffrey, and Paul, it's exciting for me to have these guys obviously as PGA members now, and who will truly be our leaders coming up and moving forward, hopefully as mentors, if you're not already. And as one of the old guys in the PGA, it's always fun to hear the people that have just come through with their experiences and thoughts. And even though my experiences were 36 years ago going through that, they're the same feelings. I'll tell you guys, the same excitement, the joys, the tragedies, the downfalls, the upticks, but it's really about the networking that Tom's son does and all his team with the mentorship program and all the things we do in the PGA that make this truly a career of a lifetime and a great career. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I look forward to meeting you three gentlemen, hopefully in the near future. And thanks for being a part of our association.
Randy, thank you. By the way, you're still young. You're a young man. Don't ever call yourself old. Randy, by the way, guys, he's the leader of the Northern Chapter for the mentorship program and is general manager at I'm sorry, Randy, what course was it again?
Santa Barbara Golf Club.
Santa Barbara Golf Club. And he's been a great, not only a professional, but a friend who's huge advocate for our mentorship program in the Northern Chapter. So thanks for those comments, Randy. Anyone else before we conclude the call? Well, I just wanted to one thing before we end. Mr. Jeff Johnson is a man of stats, and he told us recently that there were 500 associates or so in our section in 2010, 11. So 10 years ago, there were 500 in our section. And guess how many are there now in our section? 250 or so, meaning 50% of our associates have basically disappeared in the last 10 years. And that doesn't, the data is not everything, but that data doesn't bode well for, as Randy just mentioned, future leaders of a great association. So,
but Tom, does that mean that they left or they graduated to Class A?
Probably a combination of both, but still, either they left or they became members. There should be continuous pipeline of associates building, in my opinion, to make our association capable young leaders of our association, and that's not happening. So it's important. It's one of just the point I'm trying to make is it's really important what you guys are doing. The fact that you guys became members in such a short period of time, and then you'll be. I really believe that all of you will contribute to assisting and helping associates going forward, and they become members themselves and leaders themselves. And that's the cycle we need to start making within at least our section. And when we do that, And hopefully that number continues to grow. When 10 years from now, all of us are doing what we're doing in our profession, that number of 250 could be up to 500 or more from 10 years from now. So thank you for your time today, all gentlemen.
Tom, can I make one final comment?
Sure.
Hey, I just want to say thank you, because I'm a launchpad kind of guy, and it's all I, focus on. But Aaron, Jeffrey, Paul, thank you so much for your contributions.
Thanks, Tom
Yep.
and Tom.
Thank you,
All right,
Tom.
guys. Thank you so much, and have a great evening.